So today's video, we're going to discuss part 4 of my critique, my review of the Bureau of Security Investigative Services, also known as BSIS, of their committee meeting that they had late February of 2021. I watched the majority of their webinar and I have some comments. So this is part 4. What was discussed was that between 12 and 15% of you guys who take the firearms assessment fail the exam, and there's a good percentage of those of you who appeal. Obviously, if you fail, you might be inclined to appeal because this has everything to do with your standard of living, your ability to make perhaps a higher wage or perhaps promote. So let's listen to BSIS.
The final update I have is our assessment and how it ties into our budget. So the firearms assessment went live in September 2018. Since then, we've had a passage rate of approximately 86 to 88% per year of people who take the assessment pass. We have a 12 to 15% failure rate. That failure rate generates a lot of appeals. It has generated an unprecedented number of appeals and, quite frankly, is directing a lot of the Bureau resources, financial and otherwise, towards this effort. So we are facing a bit of a budget crunch, and we are looking internally at ways to deal with this. And stay tuned. We don't have any course of action chosen just yet, but I wanted to give the advisory committee members a heads up that this has become a problem. We are searching for solutions, and as always, we will keep everybody in the loop to the extent that we can on the course of action that we plan to take. So with that, I'm concluding my Bureau update. Want to know if there's any comments, questions from advisory committee members?
So you heard it from BSIS themselves. The lady speaking is the chief of BSIS. And I'm not really shocked, but I'm still disappointed. See, this is the thing. The Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution gives us the right to bear arms. It doesn't say that you have to take some psychological test. It actually says those rights shall not be infringed upon, and this is exactly what they're doing. Now, if you watch other videos, there's HR, House of Representative Bill, I think it's 217. And remember, that's the bill where they're going to require you to purchase a $1,000 insurance, a $1,000 insurance policy every single year, and register each weapon as a license. So it really it's not really a right anymore. It's more of a license if you have to apply to have the ability to have each weapon in your house. In addition, they want you to do a psychological exam. A psychological exam for a right that's already embedded into the U.S. Constitution. That doesn't make any sense. So in other videos, also explained how California tends to be the mother of all liberal laws that just went totally south. Okay. Now, on this channel, I have no issues at all with those who are Democrats or liberals. But the issue I have is when you have a liberal or even a conservative that passes some type of legislation that's against those of you who are in the private security or private investigations sector. That's the issue I have. You guys know where I stand, but my political thoughts are going to be kept to anything that has anything to do against your ability to work as a private security officer or private investigator. Okay. So we know from this video that there is considerable disruption at BSIS with their finances for those of you who want to appeal. And you know what? If you fail the psychological exam, that's I think 150 questions just to possess your firearms permit, I encourage you that if you feel that it was unjust to fail you, I highly encourage you to appeal. Now, this is the problem here. If you appeal, your ability to reapply for the firearms permit and take the psychological again for 1 year is hindered. So let's just say you're January 1st, 2023, you take the exam and you fail. Well, January 1st, 2024, you could take the psychological exam again and hopefully you'll pass. However, if you appeal and your appeal takes 5 months, okay, if you lose, well, you just lost 5 months and then you have to wait a year. So that's like 17 months, theoretically. So you get penalized for having the American right to appeal. And that, the way you get penalized is you're going to have to wait a whole year from the time you lost the appeal. Okay? So if you fight tooth and nail, 7th month after you took the exam, well, guess what? You have to wait. Well, you just wasted 7 months, and then you're gonna have to wait 12 months from the date that you lost the appeal. Now, obviously, you have this in this video. My disclaimer is I don't work for BSIS, so everything that I say, you have to assume it's incorrect, and you have to do your own research. That's my disclaimer, because I don't work for BSIS. So you definitely want to fact check what I'm telling you. Don't take everything that I say as the correct policies and procedures. Okay. But it's just bothersome that they require this. Now, obviously, the California legislator, again, the ones who pass these laws, they're liberals, Democrats. Again, I have no problem if you're a liberal Democrat, but if you start passing legislation that's against the private security or private investigation industry, I have an issue with you. On this channel, I do talk a lot about politics, but this has everything to do with within your rights and your understanding of what your rights are. Okay. Anything that's infringed on our industry, I'm going to expose. And if I have to go political on this channel, then I have to go. I know I lost a lot of subscribers because I go political, but hey, you know what? That's just the way it's going to be. Don't like it, get out, unsubscribe, don't care. Now, you also have to take into account that there's no exam, in my opinion, that can determine whether or not you're going to go on a violent rampage. Okay? I have known police officers who I've worked with that have committed crimes such as rape, child molestation, and murder. Let me repeat that again. Child molestation, rape, and murder. They took the psychological exam. You think the psychological exam was able to detect what their propensity for violence and the propensity for criminal behavior was? Absolutely not. You think 150 question exam is gonna determine whether or not this person is gonna go on a rampage? And what I really would like to know is this: what incidents occurred to require BSIS to institute this policy? Well, I guess let me rephrase this. What incident occurred to get the legislator to pass law that requires a psychological exam? And this has been in existence since 2018, by the way. Like, what happened? I know that there's a couple of incidents, but I believe there's between 40 and 60,000 armed private security professionals only in the state of California. That's not including all the other states. I know I have viewers from other states as well. So if this is even 10 incidents, well, this is just probably under portions of a fraction of a percentage. Think about that. So now you're gonna screw over everybody else with requiring a psychological exam because of a couple incidents, maybe even a dozen incidents. And I am being very generous with giving these numbers out, and I don't even know what the numbers are, but they're not 10%, 20%. They're not even 1%. Why are you going to punish everybody else? those 12 to 15% of those of you who failed the exam, the psychological exam for the firearm permit, I would trust you with my life protecting my family. Because we've done this for 30 years or 40 years, however long BSIS has been in existence. Okay? We've had no issues, very little issues. If there are any issues that are significant with armed private security professionals going postal, so to speak. You know what we ought to require are those politicians that pass these silly laws. We ought to require them to take a psychological exam and a background check. And you'll see how many of them will fail. I'm out. If you have any comments, concerns, suggestions, if you like this video, please like, subscribe. If you can find somebody that you know that might benefit from this video, please pass this on to them. You guys all be safe and take care.